Channel What the Bible Says with Ngozi Atiti. My name is Ngozi Atiti, and here today we're going to react on a statement or a comment made by one of Nigerian respected man of God. I respect him a lot, but there's something we're going to point out here together. And before we dive into that topic, if you're just coming across this channel for the very first time, I would like you to do two things, if you will. So there's this red button below that says subscribe. Click on that subscribe button and then click on the bell notification sign. That way, whenever I upload a video, you will receive a notification. And you need to have a Gmail account for you to be able to do that. So if you don't have a Gmail account, get your Gmail first. Then not Yahoo, Gmail this time around. It's free of charge, doesn't cost money. So you just do it, and it won't take you anything more than a minute or two within that range. So this is about a statement made by one of our respected men of God, like I said, a clergy in Nigeria. He is the general overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God, and his name is Pastor Adeboye. So he was admonishing, teaching some couples, a group of couples, and then there was this admonishment. So I would like to read it directly from the internet, so come with me. So he said, "It is sad that many married people are still having crushes with persons apart from their spouses. If there is any fellow aside from your spouse you are admiring unduly, you must see such a person as the devil and get rid of them immediately. One of my sons once told me that he was always excited to resume in the office every Monday because he would get to see his secretary again. I told him to fire her immediately. Nothing and no one is worth your marriage." What is a married woman doing on the phone with another man for countless minutes? Why would a married man be spending so much time with another man's wife? Why would you prefer to discuss intimate issues with your friend of the opposite sex instead of your God-given spouse? So that was the admonishment. And before I go to put down my own thoughts concerning this, there are some points here that really are very healthy, and every couple should adhere to them. So I want to point out those ones. So first of all, I totally agree with Pastor Adeboye on when he said, why would you prefer to discuss intimate issues with your friend of the opposite sex instead of your God-given spouses? I don't think that is healthy. Intimate affairs should be between those that are in emotional relationship, and that is husband and wife. So any intimate relationship should be done between you and your spouse. So I agree 100% with him on that note. Why would a married man spend so much time with another man's wife? Yeah, why would he? That's not healthy. I mean, if you want to spend time emotionally with your own wife. Otherwise, anytime you're spending with another woman or another man's wife should be on business. I mean, should be professional ground. If it's outside professionalism, then cut it off immediately as fast as you can. And nothing and no one is worth your marriage. Of course, guide your marriage jealously. So whatever that will bring any problem into your relationship with your spouse, make sure you deal with that thing as quickly as possible. So, but the part I want to react, and I'm going to use the scriptures, the part I quite don't understand and I quite don't agree with is the part that he said, one of my sons once told me that he was always excited to resume in the office every Monday because he would get to see his secretary again. I told him to fire her immediately. So that is the point I do not quite agree with my pastor. Like Pastor Adeboye is, I'm ordained by him. I respect him so much. And however, when we see things that we quite don't agree, thank God for social media and technology. It's okay for us to come out and speak out and say, I don't understand this angle. And if you don't agree with me, that's totally okay, because we view things from different angles. And if you don't, please put it into the comment section and back it up with scriptures and tell me why you don't agree with it and what is the authority backing your disagreement. And today I'm going to do the same thing. That part I do not agree, and I'm going to back it up with scriptures. And if you think it's not in alignment, keep the discussion, going. Let's keep it rolling in the comment section, okay? So don't agree with that part of advice, because it is not the secretary that was throwing herself upon him, the pastor. This was a pastor being excited by seeing a secretary who was doing her job daily as assigned. She knew nothing about what was going on in the mind and in the brain of her boss, who happened to be a pastor. Now, according to the Bible, follow me to Matthew chapter 5. So this is why I disagree with that advice. Matthew chapter 5 from verse 29, I read, "If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell." Now, this excitement is coming from the pastor. It is the pastor who gets excited. It was the pastor's eye that was seeing or that was looking onto something that got him excited. It was the pastor's mind that was causing the whole body to get excited. Now, I did not see any fault from the secretary. I did not hear that the secretary was dressing indecently in order to seduce the pastor. That would have been a different thing. And maybe in this case, I would have agreed to this kind of advice to say, okay, if the secretary is unduly, throwing herself or dressing, seductively, coming to work or dressing inappropriately, then this advice would have been very, very adequate in this situation. But in the situation as described, it was not the secretary doing anything inappropriately. It was a pastor who was looking onto her. It was a pastor who was exciting himself. It was a pastor who was having some kind of mindset and thoughts going around him, thereby getting himself excited over the presence of this lady. So getting rid of her, for me, sounds like a very harsh advice. Hurting the lady, the secretary, one, her job got hurt. 2, she was discriminated for something she knew nothing about. 3, the pastor was not made to take ownership of his own action. Like seriously, at what point are we going to start teaching self-control? At what point will the church start teaching, people to take ownership of their actions, their decisions, their thought process and everything? At what point are we going to start teaching discipline, especially to our male child? Why is it that when it comes to things that has to, deal with emotions, maybe relationship, or some things that have to do with, male and female relationship, the girl child is always made to serve the punishment, but the boy child is always excused? I don't understand this. It is high time we started teaching both our male and female children to take ownership and responsibility of their actions. So according to the Bible in Matthew chapter 5 verse 29, he was the one that's supposed to deal with his eyes. He was the one that's supposed to cut off his hand and cut off any part that was bringing that kind of illicit excitement in his system, not the secretary being getting rid of. I do not agree with that statement as a get rid of her. because the lady was just going about her daily business. She was just doing her job. But the pastor was the one having the trouble within himself, within the members of his system and everything going around him. So in my opinion, the pastor was the one who was supposed to deal with himself, deal with his thought process, deal with his eyes according to the Bible, even though the Bible did not say physically gouge out your eyes, but this is metaphorical. He's supposed to, metaphorically remove his eyes. He's the one that is supposed to metaphorically cut off his hands, because these were part of him that was, exciting him, but not the lady. But in this case, unfortunately, the lady was made to suffer for somebody's lack of self-control, gouging his eyes or cutting off his hand. He would have gone for therapy. He would have gone for, counseling on how to, control his fleshy desires. I mean, okay, now, what if he was, let's flip the table around. What if the pastor was a fellow employee in a company, in a multinational company owned by other people, and this lady that is the secretary happened to be in the same department with him, working hand by hand, and he gets himself excited by seeing this lady whenever he comes to the office? What would the pastor done in this case, in this scenario? I mean, of course, he doesn't have the power. In this scenario that I just cited now, he won't have the power to get rid of her. You see that at this point in time, the onus will be on him to learn how to discipline himself, to learn how to have self-control, to learn how to, put his fleshy desires under control. Okay, now let's say this same secretary happened to be a sister-in-law or a family member. How would he get rid of her because he was getting excited by saying this? You see, so that is where I'm at that point. That particular advice as in getting rid of her. Get rid of her. How many females can you get rid of? What if they come to church? Would you get rid of all the females that are coming to your church because those females are getting you excited? What if you go for a business meeting or you go to a restaurant and the lady that is supposed to serve you meal is getting you excited? What would you do? You leave the restaurant. So you are the one to deal with your members. You are the one to put your members under control, because it is your member, your thought process, your mind that is getting you excited, but not the subject. You deal with yourself. So that is what I just came here to react. What do you think? Let's get this conversation going, and let me know what you think concerning this counseling from our dear Pastor Adeboye towards his son. Do you think that was an appropriate counseling? Or if you think it's appropriate, let me know and back it up with a Bible quotation. And if you think not, let me hear your own side of the discussion. So I'm going to end this video. I'm going to end it here today, and until I see you in another video.